The Basano vase is one of the most cursed objects in history. It's supposedly made of pure silver, and its origin can be traced to a small Italian town, located to the north of Napoli, during the 15th century. The craftsman made the vase for a bride-to-be, and the person who ordered the vase had the vase delivered anonymously the night before the wedding. The young bride heard a knock on the door that night, and cautiously opened the door. No one was in sight. She looked down, and spotted the vase. Thinking it was a thoughtful wedding gift, and the person behind it didn't want to be identified, she took the vase into the house with her. She examined the vase carefully. Its shape was peculiar, and its style different than what she was familiar with, but nevertheless, she cherished the vase. Thinking the vase brings good luck, she took the vase and placed it on a mantel above the fireplace. Little did she know, she had misjudged the vase. It was far from a good luck charm. On the day of the wedding, everyone gathered and waited patiently for the bride's arrival. But they waited, and she never showed. The groom gathered a few of his buddies to check on the bride, and she was found on the floor clutching the vase firmly in her hands. The report did not reveal what the girl had died of, only that she had died while holding on to the vase. The silver vase was passed on to 3 different relatives of the girl, and one by one, they all died shortly after coming into possession of the silver vase. At this point, the entire family has connected the dots. All those who died in the family seem to have one thing in common: being the owner of the vase before the unfortune struck them. So, they did the only thing logical: they got rid of the vase. The vase was not easy to break since it was not made out of glass. It was made out of metal. It's not clear how the family decided to get rid of the vase, as there are various accounts. According to some, a priest locked the vase away and blessed the family. Other accounts stated that the family did not reveal the existence of the vase or its mysterious power to anyone but themselves. They buried the vase in their backyard and moved on with their lives. With time, the family seemed to have forgotten about the vase, or those who do remember have passed on. There were no records of the vase in any official records for a few centuries past this point. Until, in 1988, a young man dug up a vase in his backyard, while doing some construction work. The young man found a message in the jar that apparently read, "Beware. This vase brings death." He didn't heed the warning, however, because he decided to pawn the vase for some extra cash. The vase ended up at an auction, and it was sold for $3,000. Not a huge sum, but it was still a sizable amount of money that the young man could use for some repair work at the house, so he was happy. The new owner was a pharmacist, who believed the vase represented some form of ancient art, and happily took it home with him. Within a few months, he died of a mysterious illness. It was never made clear what he died of, and what symptoms he experienced, only that it may have given him rashes. A relative of the pharmacist then sold the vase once again, as he was unaware of the string of tragedies linked to the vase. The next unsuspecting owner was an archaeologist, who had a collection of ancient artifacts in his basement that he hoped to exhibit one day. He added the vase to his collection, as he believed the vase is a fine piece of history. 3 months later, he also died of a mysterious illness. The vase would change hands several more times, and each time, more deaths resulted. Some people were lucky, they got away with their lives, although it's only after they suffered from minor misfortunes. It's not made exactly clear how many more hands had exchanged the vase during this period of time, but it's thought that at least 5 new owners were added. The vase eventually landed in the hands of a new owner, who again fell ill soon after claiming possession of the vase. The family of the victim tried to sell the vase, but no buyers were interested in the vase. At this point, rumors of the cursed vase had been widespread, and no one wanted anything to do with it. Frustrated, one of the victim's relatives took the vase and chucked it out of the window. There were several stories up. The vase plummeted towards the ground, nearly missing a police officer by a few feet. Both the vase and the police officer were relatively unharmed. The vase was made of silver, and although it was thrown from a few stories up, it clearly wasn't high enough to shatter the vase. We don't know whether the vase sustained any slight injuries, such as a few dents, We only know that it was still largely intact when found by the police officer. The police officer tracked down the owner and paid them a visit. Her face turned ghostly white as soon as she saw what the police officer was holding in her hands. The police officer issued a fine for loitering, and the family gladly paid the fine, but they refused to take the vase back. After some failed attempts to return the vase, the police officer gave up and took the vase to a local museum. Surprisingly, the museum turned down the vase. Words of the curse had traveled to the head of art director at the museum, and she decided not to accept the vase. A very strange reaction, as the vase was no ordinary one. It has survived countless events for the past hundreds of years. It's an extraordinary artifact of 15th century Italy. Even if it was cursed, surely it could still possess some value, right? Well, that's not how the art director saw it. To her, it was too much of a risk to take. Undeterred, the police officer contacted multiple museums nearby, and they all declined to accept the vase. No one wanted to come near the vase, even if the vase was a centuries-old rare artifact. What happens to the vase next is unclear, but there have been some theories. Some believe that the police took the vase, locked it in a lead box, and buried it somewhere deep in the forest where no one would accidentally stumble upon it. Some believe that the vase was buried in a cemetery. Some skeptics doubt the existence of the vase. They pointed out that it's very difficult to track down all the people in the story who had supposedly possessed the vase at some point. If some of them could be tracked down, they could be interviewed and their stories could be told. And we could determine for ourselves whether the vase was truly sinister. However, a vast majority of the people involved with the silver vase have died, and they took their experience with them to the grave. Another problem with the vase is its claimed origin. The style of the vase is inconsistent with 15th century Italy, which was when and where the vase was first constructed. The typical vase of the period are mostly made of porcelain and are usually colorful. You could find all kinds of intricate details on those vases. However, the silver vase did not bear any significant design. It is just a plain sheet of silver. The style and shape of the vase do not match the time period or the location. It led some to believe that the vase was not truly a 15th century Italian artifact. The vase itself doesn't even have a flat bottom. Was it even meant to be used as a vase? Or did it serve an alternative purpose? From the only picture ever taken of the vase, you can't really tell whether the vase has a lid, but if it does, it could have been used for storing something else. Some people are also wondering how the curse worked, because not everyone who touched the vase died. Remember the young man who dug up the vase in his backyard? Nothing bad happened to him. He lived to a ripe old age. How about the police officer who handled the vase in 1988? He had the vase in his possession for a while, as he was searching for its rightful next owner. Nothing bad happened to him either. And as far as we could tell, he might have been the last person to handle the vase. It seems that only those who called the vase their own fell victim to the curse. If there was ever any curse in the first place. In all honesty, we aren't even sure whether all the stories surrounding the mysterious vase were true, or if there was even an ounce of truth in any of the stories surrounding the vase. We can't track down anyone who possessed the vase at some point. We don't have clear pictures of the vase, and we don't even know whether its origin is as it claimed. It's easy for anyone to make up stories and put them on the internet. Anyone who came along could add their own version of the story. In the end, fiction gets distorted into reality. You have to wonder, did someone just take a random picture of a vase and made everything up? It certainly is possible. Just look at the story of the backroom. Everything we know about the backroom came from this single picture posted on 4chan in 2019. A user asked what it was, and another user replied with the first description given to the backrooms. If you're not careful and you knock lip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the backrooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum humbuzz, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you. This simple reply given on May 13, 2019, would spark a whole new reality all dedicated to the story of backrooms. Other users were quick to add their own descriptions of the backrooms, and in a short span of less than 4 years, this one picture has spun new life to an otherwise boring picture of a random office building. Could this be what happened to this picture of a seemingly boring silver vase as well? Since we can't find any concrete physical proof relating to the vase, or given any general clues of where it might have been buried, we can safely assume that it probably was just a fabricated tale. A remnant of efforts from several internet folks, who had too much time on their hands. Thanks for watching until the end.